Now we're in Revelations chapter 1, verse 1. Quote, "The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John." Unquote. King James Version. Now the phrase, "the revelation," is used 4 times in the Greek, and this is one of them. Another time it is found is Romans 16:25, quote, "Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began," unquote. Again in Galatians 1:12, quote, "For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Jesus Christ," unquote. And Peter used it in 1 Peter 1:13, quote, "Wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Jesus Christ," unquote. King James Version. Now let's look at the definition of what revelation means in the Greek. Laying bare, making naked, disclosure of the truth, instruction concerning things before unknown, used of events by which things or states or persons hitherto withdrawn from view are made visible to all. Manifestation, appearancy. Disclosure, appearing, coming, lightened, manifestation, to be revealed, revelation. Continuing of Jesus. That phrase is used by John in this book of Revelation several times. And I'll give you for instance. The next time he uses it, Revelation 1:2, quote, "Who bear record of the word of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ and of all things that he saw," unquote. So he is ascribing information and where it's coming or relates to. Christ, which God gave is parsed that out. We're looking at the Greek. It's in the aorist tense, active voice, indicative mood. So, what does that mean? It means that the aorist tense is characterized by its emphasis on the action and that it's no concept of past, present, or future. Active voice is that it represents the subject as the doer or performer of the action. And the indicative mood is a simple statement of fact. Unto him to show. To show is an aorist tense, active voice, infinitive mood. So we have the peculiar action that doesn't regard to time, past, present, future. We have the active voice, which represents the subject as the doer or performer of the action. And we have the infinitive in the Greek, in which responds to the English infinitive. So all I have to do is put the word to, T-O, in front, and it will help you to show. Unto his servants things which must. Let's look at must in the Greek. It is in the present tense, so it's now. It's indicative mood, which means that it is a fact. Shortly come to pass. Now, come to pass is used 161 times in the King James Version. And he sent. And he sent is done in the aorist tense, active voice, participle mood. So it's more intended to look at the action itself, not regards to past, present, and future. Active voice means it's being done by you. And participle is that it's being done in an ing or ed form. So it's being done or it's been done. So he sent. And signified. So signified, when you parse that out, you have an aorist tense, active voice, indicative mood. Same thing. This action is being done with no regards to past, present, and future. It's being done by you, and it's a matter of fact. So, going forward, and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. This is the parsing of Revelations chapter 1, verse 1. Let's look and see what John Gill has to say about this in his commentary. Quote, the revelation of Jesus Christ, unquote, either of which he is the author, for it was he that sent and showed it by his angel to John. It was he, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, that took the book and opened the seals of it, and which is a very considerable proof of his deity, since none but God could foreknow and foretell things to come, or declare the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things which are not yet, as is done in this book, or of which he is the subject, for it treats much of his person, offices, and grace, and of Christ mystical, of the state of his church, and the several ages of time, or it is that revelation which was first made unto him, into which sense the following words incline, quote, which God gave unto him, unquote, not to him as he is God, for as such he is omniscient, and foreknew whatever would come to pass, and needed no revelation to be made to him, but as he was man and mediator, and this was given him by God the Father, and put into his hands, to make known as being a part of the administration of his prophetic office, the end of its being given him was, quote, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass, unquote. The Arabic version adds, in future ages, things that were to be hereafter, the accomplishment of which was necessary, because of the certain and unalterable decree of God, the good of his people, and of his glory. And these were to come to pass quickly, in a very little time, not that they would all be fulfilled in a short space of time, for there are some things not fulfilled yet. Remember, this was written in the 1700s, though it is 1900 years ago and more since this revelation was made, and we are not sure there are some things that will not be accomplished till 1,000 years hence, and more, for the millennium is not yet begun, and after that is ended, there is to be a second resurrection and a destruction of Gog and Magog army. But the sense is that these things should very quickly begin to be fulfilled, and from thenceforward go on fulfilling till all were accomplished. Not to show, not to represent these things in a clear manner, as the nature of them would admit of, to the servants of Christ, all true believers read and hear and diligently observe them, and especially to the ministers of the gospel, whose business is to search into them and point them out to, and particularly to his servant John, was this revelation made by Christ, who immediately answered this end. Quote, and he sent and signified it by his angel unto servant John, unquote, he who is the Lord of angels, and to whom they are ministering spirits, sometimes sent one angel and sometimes another, and by various emblems, signs, visions, represented and set before John, a faithful servant and beloved disciple of his, the whole of this revelation. The end of John Gill's commentary on James chapter 1, verse 1. Now remember, he was writing this in the 1700s. I did notice that they updated this computer copy, and it says 1900, because that's when this was produced. But in actuality, we now are in the 2000s, so it was almost 2,000 years ago. It was like 1,980 years since John wrote this. But being so, we're just taking note that this is what's taking place in this verse. Now you're going to look forward to the next verse, because there comes a blessing into reading and hearing the book of Revelations. And with that, we'll see you in the next verse. This is Discovering the Scriptures. May God richly bless you.